Can you believe we are just 1 month out from the 2025 NFL Draft? That's right. Unfortunately, it's up in Green Bay, but hey, the NFL Draft is almost here, and that's what matters. Welcome into the Bear Report podcast. I'm Steven Johnson. He is Zack Pearson. And Zack, again, it feels like it has just been this roller coaster that has been nonstop when it comes to the Bears offseason. Lots of excitement clearly coming out of free agency, and now all attention slowly starting to turn towards all of the college prospects.
Dude, it's crazy because when we planned to do this podcast and then I came in here and saw the title, I'm like, wow, it is 1 month until draft day. Like, I didn't even realize, like, I've just been in kind of a mode where it's like, okay, the tournament's on, there's pro day workouts, but you're like, wow, how have we gotten to March 25th already? And you know what I think it is, man? I think this is going to sound kind of weird, but you're familiar with the Masters, right?
Yeah.
Obviously. I feel like those commercials start happening earlier and earlier and earlier in the year. So now you're not really used to, okay, here's a Masters commercial. We actually have a month until the draft. There's a couple of weeks to the Masters. Now the Masters commercials are like, I think I saw one during Christmas. So it's kind of like it flies by, man. And here we go. Free agency. First couple waves are done, and now it's draft time.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does. And I'll be honest, like it took me a second even, going through setting up the show for this. And then I went to go, I'm like, what are the dates for the NFL draft? And all of a sudden it's like April 24th. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, so I think it's kind of stunned just about everybody out there that it is this close. It's kind of snuck up on us. And, in a way, it's not necessarily a bad thing because, it's the draft, and the draft is fun. And, now we're here talking about what the Bears could potentially do at number 10 overall. They have solved, for the most part, quite a few issues via the draft or via the free agency, and now turning the attention to the draft. And really, at the beginning of this offseason, we're sitting here talking about a Chicago Bears team that they don't have the luxury of going best player available. There's a lot of concerns with the offensive line. There's concerns with the defensive line. And now magically you have Dio, you have Grady Jarrett, you have the overhaul of the middle of the offensive line, getting 2 new guards and a center. And now, arguably, you have maybe an edge and a left tackle to go, if you want to press that. And now the question becomes, do the Bears have the luxury now of going best player available with what has transpired over the last 3 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, I always like going best player available. That's just kind of how I kind of roll with it. But, Ryan Poles has set himself up where, like you said, they filled a need at center. They filled a need at left guard. They have who they believe is their right tackle in Jonah Jackson. I think you could argue that you can eventually upgrade there. And then at left tackle, they have Braxton Jones, who's coming off a serious knee injury or leg or foot injury. And then you have Kieran Amagaji as the backup. You could argue that you could, improve there as well and upgrade there eventually. Now, it's going to come down to, do you think Will Campbell is a left tackle right away and could start right away? Do you think the kid out of Missouri, I'm blanking on his name, Armand Membu, is he going to be a left tackle? I think a lot of guys project him as a right tackle right now. And, this brings up some serious questions. If Ashton Genty's there at 10, if Tyler Warren's there at 10, Will Johnson's there at 10, Mason Graham, what do you kind of do? I'm still in the boat where, yeah, you can take best player available. I wouldn't be mad. But at the same time, I'd probably prefer it to be an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman, probably someone that you can kind of build in the trenches with. I wouldn't. There's very few picks that would make me mad. I wouldn't be like pissed off at Ashton Genty. I'm kind of like on Tyler Warren, taking him that high. I do think, and I've talked about it, I do think people are kind of like the recency bias with Brock Bowers, who, is just kind of a freak of a football player. Like, right. Let's be real. He was wide receiver, tight end. And they do line up Warren in different spots, but I don't know. If it came down to Warren against an offensive lineman or defensive lineman, I'd probably go the trenches right now. But yeah, to answer your question, I think they do have the luxury now to go best player available.
And this is the interesting thing about how it's kind of all come together for the Bears, is the fact that you look at what the media as a whole is currently projecting. Again, a lot of the talk's been about Ginty and what he's able to do for this team, and the fact that there's still a lot of people that are unsure if DeAndre Swift is really the answer. And obviously, there's a second piece to that backfield that is missing right now. I think no one would necessarily argue that, but for as deep as this class is at running back, and there are some very solid options in the second and third rounds that they can easily look at as well. Right now, based on the consensus of every mock draft that is out there, it's this guy right here, Will Campbell, offensive lineman LSU. You mentioned him. He is currently the favorite when it comes to the national landscape of mock drafts right now, of him falling all the way down, which is wild to me. For the sole fact that I feel like this was like a top 5 pick guy
Yeah.
before the combine, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, he's got these short arms and these tiny hands, and now everyone's freaking out on whether or not he's actually NFL tackle material. And I don't understand how there can be such a drop off, for somebody that, we've seen the short arms, the small hands before. And yes, there in some aspects it has been a concern, but for it to happen this quickly, I think everybody kind of knew this is the kind of guy he was, the kind of player he is. So why all of a sudden is it like, here's a smear campaign to potentially dropping out of the top 10? I don't fully understand that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be the arm length, right? Like, I don't know. If you're the Bears, you're sitting there at 10 and he's there, just look at the teams ahead. Like, okay, Tennessee's going to take a quarterback. The Browns are probably going to take Abdul Carter or trade out. They might take a quarterback. The Giants could go a couple different ways now. The Patriots. You look at kind of like Jacksonville, Oakland, Jets, in terms of taking a tackle. Maybe the Panthers, the Saints ahead of them as well. I guess if you want an offensive lineman and you want the Bears to draft an offensive lineman, you essentially need 2 quarterbacks. You probably need Genty to go, Warren, 2 wide receivers, like that type of combo. So I do think a tackle is going to be taken before the Bears go. Just like the Jets, dude. I mean, the Jets could use a tackle. A lot of teams could use the trenches, but if you're the Bears and you look at Will Campbell and he's sitting there somehow, I think it's a smart pick. Honestly, you look at the tape. This guy's doing it against SEC opponents. It's not like he's a guy that's played at South Dakota State and he occasionally gets a D1 game or whatever, or a Power 5 game, and he has a nice showing, or is at Ohio and they play Tennessee the one time and he holds up well against James Pierce Jr. It's like he's at LSU. People raved about him. He came in, he's a starter, and I get the wingspan thing. I think it's fine. I think you can work him on the outside at left tackle. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just the combine stuff. Like, people were just worried, and there's a lot of mind games going on right now between teams in terms of like putting stuff out with the media and who they like and who they don't like. I mean, we saw with Justin Fields when he was drafted, there was all those reports that he was like a terrible character guy and all that locker room stuff. And like, it just wasn't really, none of it was true. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you're the Bears and Will Campbell's there and you like him and he's high on your board, I think it's a no brainer to me.
Yeah, no, it is something that's interesting, and even just kind of looking at the other teams that are potentially interested in Campbell as a potential draft pick. It really seems like if he gets past the Patriots at 4, there's no one else that's going to take him until 10. There's a very sizable gap, which again, I'm trying to wrap my mind around as well. And you get past Will Campbell, there's a lot of folks that will then want to plug in Kelvin Banks out of Texas as kind of the
Yeah.
number 2 guy there. You have who's the Ohio State kid? Josh Simmons.
Simmons. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you got Simmons there, maybe a little bit later in the first if you want to try and trade back. You start to kind of get into some territory with things because, I mean, frankly, I I'm not big on the Missouri kid. I think that he just kind of
Yeah.
slacks. He doesn't show that consistency on tape,
I think he's
and
gonna be a
so
right tackle. I think he's gonna be a right tackle, man. Which you
and
don't need.
exactly, you don't, which you don't need, and so then, frankly, I think that there exists a most likely option that they don't address left tackle in this draft. That they go into the season and they're just going to give it a shot. They're going to play the game of, okay, we upgraded the interior line. It's going to make the tackles better. There's going to be better communication. They're going to get in a better offensive line coach that's going to be able to teach these guys up as a unit, and everything's going to be fun.
We
I'm starting to feel like that almost might be the way things roll.
I would be against that. I mean, I could see it happening. But I mean, I think like dude, at like 39, if the Oregon kid's there, Josh Connerly Jr., I could see that. I mean, they have what 39, 41. Obviously they have 10, they have 72. So they have 4 picks in that top 100. I think you got to almost try and take a tackle. I think in those 4 picks, you have to get at least one offensive lineman and one defensive lineman. I think that'd kind of be the smart thing to do. I mean, I guess you could go Gray Zabel at center if he falls, but like, there's really not many centers available that you'd want to take in the top 100. It's kind of a bad draft for centers in terms of like immediate impact guys outside of Zabel. But yeah, I don't know, man. It'd be interesting to see if Campbell's gone. And the Raiders are a wild card. You never know what they're going to do. They made the smart choice last year, which is kind of a shocker, going with Bowers. But like, if the Raiders take Gentry, the Raiders take Campbell, it'd be interesting to see how it shakes out. I think the Bears would probably opt to go. If Gentry's there, they'd probably go Gentry. If he's not, maybe they go Membu out of Missouri. But again, like, I mocked him the Bears earlier, but like more and more research I did, more and more I listened to people and talked to people. It's like, let people see him as a right tackle, and I don't think the Bears need that. But on the flip side, there's guys on the defensive side of the football that they could take that, should be available there at number 10. But here's the thing with that is you're looking at guys, maybe Jalen Walker, Michael Williams. Obviously, I think if Mason Graham's there, the defensive tackle, I know you just brought in Gritty Jarrett. I know you have Gervon Dexter and Andrew Billings. But look at what like the Philadelphia Eagles did a stack in their line. I think it'd be worth taking Mason Graham at 10 if he's there. Shamar Stewart's another guy that got kind of a connection to the Bears. But a lot of these guys outside of Graham are just raw talents that kind of feel like almost boomer bust in a way. I don't know how you feel on a couple of those guys.
I mean that's kind of the struggle that I have specifically with Stewart coming out of Texas A&M. Again, he was the combine dandy this year. Really never came up with much of the stats out of college, but we've only had 4.5 sacks in college at Texas A&M, and so I mean that's a struggle. It really is a struggle. He only had a sack and a half his first year. Sack and a half his second year, and then this past second and a half this third year. Okay, look at that. Look, consistency. But at the same time, I mean, you can't even get to 2 sacks in 3 years. I mean, that's a little concerning. Yeah, he's got a bunch of size. I mean, the dude's big, 6'5", 267. That's a lot of dude coming off the side of the line at your quarterback. But at the same time, if he can't even produce the athleticism at the college level, what makes you think something's going to magically occur where all of a sudden he figures it out at the highest level in the world? I mean, that's the struggle that I have that makes me also at the same time concerned, because those athletic type of linemen are what Ryan Poles likes. And I really don't want to see that. I feel as though I will say this, he does tend to do a good job at making sure that the guys that he does pick have that output in the college ranks. I mean, we really haven't seen too much of the, raw product, but I don't know. Maybe I'm like on the fence. I feel like this is a guy that they might even want to like just try and mold, and especially Dennis Allen as well. I mean,
Yeah,
that's a Dennis Allen guy right there.
that's the key. Yeah, that's a Dennis Allen pick, and Ashton Genty is a Ben Johnson pick, if that kind of makes sense. But they got a guy in Dia Odebingingo, Odi Ying. Oh my God, Ode Yingbo, who's kind of like a traits guy. You know what I mean? Doesn't have the production last year, couldn't finish the sacks, get to the quarterback. But it's something that Dennis Allen likes. So it wouldn't shock me. I guess I kind of have a rule here. Like if you're going to go defense and there's no clear cut consensus guy, just take a Georgia Bulldog because they're going to more than likely excel in the NFL. I mean, you got Jalen Carter, Roquan Smith, Nakobe Dean had a good year. Just has had good years. Just kind of things like that. Pass rushers, and there's a couple of them. I mean, Jalen Carter, or excuse me, it's not Jalen Walker, and yes, Michael Williams. I mean, I wouldn't be mad at a pick like this. I would understand it because eventually you're going to need a pass rusher. And right now, I mean, dude, you're banking on Montez Sweat having a big year, which is fine.
Yeah.
You're banking on Deo having a productive year, and someone like Austin Booker to kind of step up. And I don't know, but it goes back to like the Bears have the luxury now, quote unquote luxury, of taking the best player on their board. It'll be interesting to see, how that board stacks up because there is going to be a real situation where more than likely or not, they're going to be able to pick from 2 to 3 of their top guys. And I'm curious to see what the conversations are like, who gets, how much input Ben Johnson has, how much input, Dennis Allen has in terms of that. It's a lot of stuff we're going to learn here in this first draft.
Well, and the other interesting thing about Jalen Walker specifically, because there's been a lot of arguments that he might be better off as like an off the ball linebacker versus an edge rusher, and just trying to figure out what position best fits him at the next level. Jack Sanborn is no longer a Chicago Bear. I mean, there's your off the ball spot. Yeah, you have the other two locked down with TJ Edwards and oh wow, I'm gonna blank
Tremaine Edmonds.
Tremaine Edmonds, thank you.
Yeah.
Edwards Edmonds, I always get that. I don't know why it always throws me off. But can you imagine throwing a guy like Jalen Walker into the mix as that third linebacker and just having him wreak havoc coming off the edge and being that aggressive blitzing linebacker? I mean, I think back to like the Roosevelt Colvin years back in the early 2000s where it was just him wreaking havoc on quarterbacks from the second level of that defense. And maybe that's an option here because again, we're going to see a much more aggressive defense, no doubt in my mind. And I think plugging somebody like that in that has that, downhill attack, that there might be the opportunity for him to just slide right in there and, be somebody. Because I don't feel like it's really been talked about too much either, is that third linebacker spot that is now kind of like, okay, who is the guy there? I don't know if the guy's on the roster right now, to be honest.
Yeah, and the one thing that Ben Johnson said, and Dennis Allen's even alluded to it too, is we want to get after the quarterback. We have to get after the quarterback. We have to pressure the quarterback. We have to sack the quarterback. We have to make life uncomfortable for the quarterback. So that, to me, it would make sense to draft an edge rusher or a guy like Jalen Walker, Michael Williams, James Pierce Jr. You can never have enough pass rushers. I go back to Philadelphia, man. They got to Patrick Mahomes without blitzing. I think they blitzed once in that game. And yeah, they have a lot of talented defensive linemen and edge rushers, but that's how you build, man. You build through the draft, and you get these guys and you develop them and you get after the quarterback. And in the NFC North, where, you have, Jared Goff, we'll see how he is without Ben Johnson, but you have Jordan Love and you have Matt LaFleur, you have Kevin O'Connell. We'll have to wait and see with JJ McCarthy. Like, you have to get after the quarterback. In the NFC, you have to get after the quarterback. So, yeah, I mean, Jalen Walker is an interesting guy. A lot of physical traits you like, but I mean, the guy I kind of like is James Pierce Jr. and he's kind of like the wild card to me. Like, he kind of feels like a Bears pick in a way. But let's talk Ashton Jeanty, because I think that's a big name that keeps popping up, and whether it's clickbait mock drafts or not, or people trying to get attention. I think there's a legit possibility they can take him at number 10 if he's there.
I would say that you are correct, and it's funny because there has been these little Easter eggs that have found their way around social media with
Yeah.
what he's been liking on social media, and the fact it's been some Bears specific things, and there's been Bears players doing the same thing to stuff hyping up Jeanty. I mean, there's this mutual respect over social media occurring right now but between the two sides. And I mean, even we saw Caleb Williams hanging out with him earlier this offseason. It feels too good to be true. I think that's kind of where things are at. If he does last to 10, I would be willing to bet that he's probably going to be the pick. I just don't think he is. That's my
so who do you think takes him? I think there's only one team that takes him.
See, I think there's multiple.
Okay.
I think that the Raiders at 6, that's obviously the most pressing, because is Zamir White still the starting running back in
no, it's
in Las Vegas, or who is it?
Who took over for him last year? It was man, I had him on my fantasy team. That's how I knew it. No, it's Raheem Mostert.
Raheem Mostert's a Raider?
Yeah, I believe Raheem Mostert's
a Raider. Amir Abdullah was there. I know that.
Yeah, they had 4 guys they went through. Like, remember, was Madison there?
It was Alexander Madison. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
And then they had that rookie who played for Sincere McCormick.
Oh yeah, McCormick. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they had McCormick. Or he wasn't a rookie, but they had McCormick. I think they had a rookie too. I can't remember, but I think the Raiders is the obvious one. I think, dude, do the Jaguars need a running back?
No, I don't think it's the Jags. I think I think that they are content between ETN and Bigsby. I think that 1-2 punch, that's going to be a non-starter there. The team that I'm most curious about, and I feel like it's a team that hasn't really been talked about too much, and that's the New Orleans Saints at 9.
Yeah.
Alvin Kamara is not getting any younger. Nope. And there needs to be somebody else there. And I know that they did invest at the running back position not too long ago in the draft in the middle rounds. But the fact that you would be able to potentially have that baton pass from Kamara and build that 1-2 punch. And again, that Saints team has a lot of holes, and maybe they are not built out right now as well as what the Bears are, with being able to take a best player available type. But that, to me, screams Saints. There's something about it that just screams Saints, even getting Will Campbell and getting the backyard kid with LSU. I mean, that's why I don't think Will Campbell's going to make it to 10. I feel like he's kind of one of those guys that he's not being talked enough about at 9 for the Saints. But at the same time, if let's say Will Campbell goes to the Patriots at 4, I struggle to see Jeanty getting past 9. There's just something about it. I have this weird feeling that it's kind of like a dumb pick that the Saints would make.
That's probably what almost worst case scenario for the Bears is, that Campbell's off, Jeanty's off. And again, nothing against Warren. A tight end at 10. I don't know, man. The Bears do need a tight end. Like, we can't dismiss that, but I don't know, man. It's tough. I'd almost rather try the trade back. But yeah, back to Jeanty. It just feels like a Raiders pick. Feels like I would agree with you. The Saints, like the dome, fast. They want to play fast. They want to help Derek Carr. You could deploy the 2 running back set. Kamara's your pass catcher, Genty back there with Carr. I mean, that's not bad. The Saints are probably going to go all in on someone like, next quarterback class, maybe bring Arch Manning home or something like that. But yeah, I mean, Genty, if he's there at 10, it just feels like it's the obvious pick. Like if you look at the betting odds, I think today I looked for the position of the Bears' first pick. Running back is the leader at plus 130. And then it's offensive line at like plus 250, defensive line, and then tight end. So I don't know, because I mean, and the Bears could have faced a situation where a team comes up, they like Jackson Dart or someone like that. Team comes up, hey, we'll move. Let's just say, the Colts or Seattle. Who's Seattle's quarterback?
Now it's Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold. Okay, maybe I don't know. Maybe Seattle.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, Pittsburgh. They come up. Someone wants Jackson Dart. I don't. Let's just hypothetical. Someone wants Jackson Dart. Do the Bears take Amarian Hampton at 18, 19, 20? Like, there's a situation that happens too. The Bears are going to take a running back. They're probably going to take an offensive lineman. And they're probably going to take a defensive lineman with 3 of those first 4 picks. I think that's kind of what it comes down to.
Yeah, and there is one player I really don't understand why he keeps popping up as an option in the first round. And I know you're a UNC guy.
Oh, you don't think Hampton is a first rounder?
10? At 10? No, I've seen him mocked at 10.
No,
and
I'm saying
he's not a top 10 player in this draft.
No, I'm saying if the Bears traded back.
If they trade back, fine.
If they got to like the
trade
20s,
out of the top 15,
and
get to like maybe 18 and beyond.
Yes, not a 10.
Fine.
I would not take him at 10. If the Bears, let's say, trade back, I mean, there's not really many teams that would come up for Jackson Dart, I don't think. Like the Rams maybe would need a quarterback. There's not many teams right now. I don't think they're trading up to 10 to draft Jackson Dart. But let's say a team comes up, they want Tyler Warren, whatever. If the Bears moved like 17, 18, 19 on, I could see it'd be someone like Amarian Hampton. The mock draft I'm looking at, the Broncos have him at 20, which that makes a little sense.
That's a good slot, yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't see him as high as 10. I saw him as high as 12. I saw him to the Cowboys at 12, which that would be a Cowboys pick, though. Like, let's ignore we need a tackle, we need a defensive lineman, we need a wide receiver, we need a guard. Let's just take the.
I mean, it's the same as when they drafted CeeDee Lamb. They didn't need CeeDee Lamb, but they got CeeDee Lamb, and I mean, he's been, it's worked out really well in their favor. And so, like, that's again the thing is, I mean, I've seen Sports Illustrated, Marquee Sports Network, a couple different places that have put Hampton in with the Bears at 10, and I'm like, that is such a stretch.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me. He had a great combine, and I think he probably put himself into that first round.
Yeah.
But like with the way running backs are being drafted and I don't see 10 would just make no sense to me unless they absolutely fell in love with him for some weird, I don't know, just to make any sense. They don't even have a top 30 with him right now. The only top 30s they have is Genty, man, I just said his name. The Oregon offensive tackle, Connerly, and then they have the Ole Miss running back, or SMU running back. One of the 2 running backs they have them at in a top 30. So, but also the top 30 visits are coming out really slow. So a lot of them might be hidden. I don't know, but yeah, Hampton would not make sense. It does not make. When you need an offensive lineman, you need a pass rusher. I wouldn't take Hampton. I could see the case for Genty, obviously, but like I said, though, Genty is a Ben Johnson pick, 100%.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. And again, for as deep as this class is, I feel as though this is a good time more than ever to bring in the mock draft and having the fun of the mock draft. We got to do at least a couple here and just see how
let's
things
do a couple
fall.
spins on
this. Just to see how things break down. And the fun thing about this one with Pro Football Network, they will offer trades. We're not going to do any trades. The trades are a pipe dream.
Let's do.
You
Let's
just
do.
kind
Hold on.
of
Let's do one trade. Let's do one version to a trade.
one trade.
One
Okay,
trade.
so
That's
we'll
it.
just
'Cause
go
I'm with
we'll
you.
just go straight on this one.
Yes.
We'll go straight on this one. It's the picks. Like that's it. So we're gonna reject all of these. We don't care about that. So and in this mock, Gentie's there. So I mean
Yeah.
he is there
I
at
think you
10.
take.
So
I think you take Genty.
okay, so we go Genty at 10. And you'll see again a lot of the guys that we've been talking about between Shermar Stewart and
Michael
Josh Simmons at
Williams,
18.
Josh Simmons.
And again, these are updated daily with
Yeah.
the latest mocks. I mean, this is fresh information that's coming through here. I mean, Jackson Dart at 33 to the Browns. And
Man.
this is the thing about the quarterbacks this year. There have not been there hasn't been much hype. Really, I think today with
Yeah.
Cam Ward, that's really been the first time we've seen the hype
Anything.
out of
Yeah.
any of the quarterbacks.
Well,
I
here.
mean,
So here you go. Hampton falls to 35 or
right.
39. So go back. Go back to 10. So we took Genty. So would you rather take Genty and let's say, man, see this draft did not pan out. Like, would you rather take Genty and Cameron Williams, or would you rather take, let's say, Shamir Stewart or Tyler Warren or Michael Williams and have Amari and Hampton? That's kind of tough, man. I probably would no buy. I mean, no buy. I probably would take the second option because you get. I mean,
Yeah.
there's just nothing like.
I mean, you got Caleb Johnson here. I mean, he's
Yeah,
buried on this chart. I I lean going offense or defensive line. I do.
yeah.
The more that I look at this, if this is again kind of a worst case scenario because you get this run here even at the bottom of the first where
Look at all. I mean,
you got Easy, you got Green, you got Walter Nolan all gone like back to back to
Gray
back,
Zabel.
and then you have Derek Harmon off the board from Oregon. I mean that Isaiah Bond. I mean that's another guy that I think that the Bears, if they
Oh
don't
yeah.
do anything else at wide receiver, could potentially be a target that they're looking at
So do
as a
you?
speedy threat because I just don't think Tyler Scott's it.
Would you take?
Um,
Would you take Luther Burden here then at 39?
I wouldn't.
Okay.
There's something about Burden that just doesn't sit well with me. I don't know what it is.
So I think here you'd have to take. I mean, I think you'd have to take Connerly, the tackle, because you're not taking Hampton. You're not going to take one of those wide receivers. You're not taking a defensive back.
Yeah,
I mean, Xavier Watts is very intriguing to me.
he is, and I think that kind of hinges on what is going on with Byard long term
Yeah,
and
Brisker.
how healthy is Brisker. I mean, in what you want to do in the back there. Okay, so let's go with Connerly. Let's go.
Well, see what Bill's saying here. Let's trade back and take Michael Williams. We could have taken Williams at 10 and still had someone like Hampton or Caleb Johnson in the second, too. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, because where was
Michael was
15?
15. Yeah, Pierce is there. We'll do it again. We'll do it.
Yeah,
again.
we're gonna do this a couple times.
Yeah,
so
that's very interesting.
Yeah, so let's go Connerly. But then again, this is the fun part about the Bears' second round here is having the two picks in 3, and so really you're left with the same board.
I mean, it's the same thing.
More than anything, and so okay, let's say you cover the tackle there.
Yeah,
I
think JT is going to be. I would. I'll let you make this pick. For me, though, if I were making this pick, I think it'd be Watts or JT out of Ohio State. That would just be me, though. Right?
I'd say Watts, honestly. I feel as though the secondary needs a little bit more depth.
Yeah.
And bringing in a guy like Watts should play out well for the Bears. So Hampton at 45 to the
God, that's
Colts.
crazy. I don't see him going 45.
Judkins to the Broncos. Caleb Johnson to the Seahawks. I don't know what the heck this is thinking.
Yeah,
Like
this is
three-headed
kind of
monster. I'm going to put this on fast next time we go through this too. I didn't realize that normal
this is
gives
on
you
slow. Yeah.
No, this is on normal. This isn't
Normal.
even on okay, so all right. So here we are because we're just doing 3 rounds.
Yeah.
Defensive tackles very heavy on this. Restrepo had a terrible pro day today. He almost
Yeah.
ran
And
a 5-second 40.
Tez Johnson had a terrible scouting combine. So I think those two would be perfect if you're in terms of like if you want a true slot receiver or a burner down the field.
Yeah. Man.
I think you'd have to go with one of the defensive tackles, right?
Yeah, I'd probably say
Collins
Walker.
or Collins, Alexander, or Walker. One of those. I mean, I don't have a preference.
Yeah, let's just because I mean this is the other thing. I mean, it's just like you want these run stuffers.
Yeah.
And I mean that's what Walker is. So here we'll let this cycle through here. Man, this thing is slow. Why is this so slow?
Very slow.
Does
it give you like a draft grade?
Because the fast one is like da 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 da. It's like, oh, all right, we're all done.
Does it give you a draft grade when you're done?
See, I don't think it does, which is kind of frustrating.
Oh, dude, Scatterboo to the Chargers, that is Jim Harbaugh's dream.
I mean, that has Jim Harbaugh written.
Oh God.
I mean, even picking up Najee. I mean, okay, so Genty at 10, Connerly at 39, Watts at 41, and Walker at 72.
Yeah.
I don't feel great about that.
Yeah, I still feel like your left tackle would be a little bit of an issue. I think the 2 best picks, in my opinion, I think would be Genty and Watts, right? Or Walker.
I mean, I like Walker. I just the thing about him is the athleticism that he needs to get into. Like, I mean, he's just a mountain of a dude.
Yeah.
Like, he is big. So I mean, he's definitely going to be your first, second down defensive tackle that's slotting in there next to Grady Jarrett as your high motor in the middle. And I mean, really just kind of a depth piece between that and Gervon Dexter. So I'd say Watson Genty, I'd say are probably the 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Let's do a trade one. Let's do a trade one.
Trade. Okay. 3 round. Oh, stop glitching. There we go. Okay.
Make sure you do fast.
Oh yeah, fast this time. We'll make sure of that. Okay. So let's see what we got here. Let's see. So all right. So
that's not happening.
The Packers is the only trade offer. Are you kidding me?
Okay, we'll do the trade one next. We'll do one more trade one.
Okay. So in this, Genty's gone at 6.
Yep. Graham, McMillan's gone, Sanders.
Campbell to the Giants.
Man. Dude, Will Johnson sitting there. I don't know.
And this has been one of the other things that's been talked about is what this new coaching staff thinks of
Stevenson.
There's been a lot of people talking about the Gordon extension. Is it going to happen?
Yeah.
That's a lot of another unknown to this entire thing. I mean, is there the possibility they pivot and they surprise us all? We have Jalen Walker here at 15.
You have Michael Williams, James Pierce. I mean, you have your choice of edge rushers here.
Right.
I think you got to go edge rusher. Right?
I would say Jalen Walker. I think I do not want Stewart. I just don't. I want to see the productivity.
I think,
and that's the thing. And to your point earlier, you go for the Georgia Bulldogs because you know that it translates so damn well at the NFL level.
I think I'd be fine with Walker, Williams, either of those 2. I think we just say One of those two. You could pick Walker. We'll say Walker or Williams.
Okay, so we'll do Walker. See a power through here. We'll get all the way down to the bottom.
39.
Okay, so 39 to 43. Also picking up pick 100 or pick 55 in a second round selection.
I think you take the second. I think you take
Whoop.
that one.
Where did it go?
Trade offer.
There. Oh, sorry. There we go.
I think you would take the Chargers.
The Chargers.
Yeah, you pick up that second rounder. Well, who's on the board? Who's on the board?
Here, let's.
That's the other thing.
Yeah, I mean it all comes down. I mean, you got Watts there again. You got Nolan, who was picked up in the late first last go around. Ursi.
So it's from the Chargers? So
yes.
I gotta imagine they're going.
It's probably going to be a late second.
And I gotta imagine they're going pass rusher or defensive line here. Yeah, I would say. I think I would trade it.
You trade it?
Yeah, okay. I'd trade it. I'd pick up that second next year.
Okay. So let's do that. We'll accept that. Because, I mean, the nice thing about this, I mean, you have Marion. Why is this thing is just glitching galore here? Here we go. Okay, and then you have this one. 41 and 148 for 46 and a second, or pick 57 and a Carolina second.
So I don't think Ryan Poles would take 2 seconds. I think he wouldn't take one. I think we got to make a pick here.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think you got it.
So, I mean, you got Fannin and you got Nolan off the board. Hampton went to the Broncos, which, again, great landing spot. Just seeing some of the other Igbuka. Oh wow, the Packers picking a wide receiver first round.
Yeah,
pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. Tyler Williams has to be it, right?
Yeah, I think it's Williams. I think it's like I said, I'd be fine with Williams or Watts. I think it'd be Williams though.
Yeah. All right. So we got that, and so now, yeah, is it now?
Probably not trading.
Yeah.
I think here this is easy.
Caleb Johnson.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, it has to be. And so okay, so we're 3 picks in, so we're going into the third. Nah.
Probably not.
So you have Judkins.
There you go. Oh no, they already took a defense tackle. So
yeah. I'm curious about Jalen Noel. Like there's something.
Yeah, you do need a wide receiver too.
Yeah.
Not wide receiver 2, but you also need a wide receiver.
Because is Jalen Noel the one that I'm thinking of? That he's the speedy one,
short, speedy guy.
Yeah.
Iowa State.
Yeah,
let's add some offense. Let's add them. Let's add some offense.
All right, so that will get us through to the end. Okay, so
what does the blue mean?
I think it's just blue.
Oh.
Nothing special. So Jalen Walker at 10, Tyleik Williams at 41, traded 39 to the Chargers for 55 in the second rounder for 2026, picking up Caleb Johnson, who, again, a lot of connections to the Bears staff as it stands right now, and the new offensive coordinator in Chicago, and then Jalen Noel. So again, the 50-50 more towards the skill positions on the offensive side of the ball. I like this better than the first draft.
Yeah, you get the second for next year, and we saw what the players were too that we're gonna have to pick from. I think I like this one. Let's do one more.
All right, one more. Set this up one more time. And like, here's the other thing is the more that I look at who's available and just the fact that they do have 2 of 3 picks there in the second round, I feel like it's more and more likely that Ryan Poles trades one of them. Just
Yeah.
based on what's there and the fact that he can recoup some more value.
You think he's
Now,
traded
okay, we've
Everett?
talked about this situation.
Okay.
The
Yep.
fall
Here we
back at
go.
20. I mean, this
But
let's see what else. 17
17.
and 49 or 20 and
Oh,
51.
I think he takes 17.
Yeah, I would agree. Okay, so let's do this because we
Well, who's on the board? Genty's on the board. Warren's
Genty.
on the board.
It's another Genty draft, more than
Yeah.
likely. So let's play through this scenario because we talked about it. Yeah, get out of here, Browns. Okay, so Jalen Walker's here again.
Yeah.
Later on.
James Pierce Jr. is there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of and there's been a lot of talk about the type of players that exist between picks 8 and 25. It could go any which way.
Hell,
And
8 and
I
32.
think we're seeing that. We're definitely seeing that here. Man, I don't know. I mean, James Pierce would definitely be a more fun player just out of spite. I mean, he's a big dude. He's a really big dude. But again, based on the type of defense that the Bears are going to be running here, I mean, I guess you could argue both Walker and Pierce are kind of in that same style. So
yeah, let's go Walker this one, or let's go Pierce. Let's go Pierce this one.
okay, so we'll go
So
Pierce.
you get Pierce.
We'll reject these just out of because let's see how else the rest of this shook out here. So Jalen dropped to 20.
20.
Matthew Golden at 18. Luther Burden. Man, it's Green Bay and wide receivers.
I know.
Josh Simmons at 26.
Yeah, Zabel is gone. Hampton goes 33rd.
Caleb Johnson. Ooh,
wow.
Okay. So really, in this scenario, there's no running back for the Bears.
Oh, there's Judkins. But I mean,
yeah.
So
again, you're left with Williams because you took an edge.
Yeah. What about the Bowling Green tight end?
Oh, Fannin Jr.
Yeah.
Because he's a bigger one, isn't he? No, he's smaller.
No, he is smaller.
Yeah. Man, I can't that's the one position I can't sell myself at. I just can't.
At 39 or 41?
At the Bears spending a first or second round pick on a tight end. There's something about it.
I think second round they would. Like someone mentioned it, I think they would take Warren at 10. I'm not saying they wouldn't. I just wouldn't be the biggest fan of it. I could see them taking Warren at 10. So who do we go here then? Go back to
I don't know. Man, I don't know. I don't know. Who else is down here? Let's see who else is down here. If anybody, yeah, I mean, you got. I don't know. I mean, here's the other thing too is a guy like Mike Green, and he's kind of been the wild card at the edge position for the draft here because I think a lot of folks are wondering like, okay, he played at Marshall. At what level?
Oh, he played at Virginia too.
Say what?
He played at Virginia too.
He did.
There's some things we don't know. We just don't know. That's kind of the thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't if we took what's his name? Who'd we take the first pick? Michael Williams? No, Pierce. We took Pierce.
Pierce, yeah.
But we wouldn't take Green.
You wouldn't just stack up and just go all out onslaught and just forget about the edge for the next 2 years, hopefully more.
No, I think you'd almost go Williams, right? Williams or Connerly.
Yeah, I mean, probably Williams. I mean, it feels, yeah. I think you have to. And then we are here again.
Oh,
Connerly goes to
Connerly's
the
gone.
Saints, and we got Bill in the chat here saying Judkins or Travion Henderson. I mean, I think at this point, I mean, you probably have to, unless you go Isaiah Bond.
Yeah, I would. I think you could get Judkins or Henderson later.
Okay,
So I would probably, yeah, Bond would make sense to me.
and just pick it. But you also got Trey Harris. Is Trey Harris the bigger one? Yeah, he's the big one.
6'2". I
I
like Bond though, man.
feel like that doesn't really fit what the Bears already have. That's the problem.
Is which one, Bond or
Trey Harris.
Harris?
It'll miss. He's more of just a big possession type. Yeah, okay. So let's go Bond at wide receiver. Oh, that's right. We our
Made the
trade
trade.
picks. Ha.
Yeah, see?
Okay. So there's
Judkins.
Judkins off the board.
So you can get Henderson's right there.
So then you could do Travion Henderson here.
Now we got another pick, see?
Yeah, so this all works out. I mean, you got Emory Jones at tackle. Haven't addressed tackle.
Darius Alexander.
Yeah, Alexander Toledo would be fun.
Jared Wilson, the center.
And have him learn behind. That might not be a bad idea.
I mean, they got this is my favorite one so far. If they needed if they needed a point guard, they could go Chris Paul Jr. here.
Linebacker out of Ole Miss. Okay.
Nah, I was just kidding.
Honestly, that
I was kidding.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know enough about Chris Paul Jr.
Oh, I don't either. Yeah, I mean,
I feel like at this point, I mean, just based on what we have so far. So we got Pierce, Williams, Bond, and Henderson.
So you got to go. I mean, I think you got to go offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, because we've ignored it.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a possibility the Bears could go. I mean, they could stack the defense. They could take Alexander.
They could. Because he's another one that's, yeah, man, I don't know. I mean, it sucks because Fannin went at 71.
Yeah, I think Jared Wilson would be a good pick, the center.
And just have him learn behind the line and build. Because, I mean, and to that point, though, I think this is a good connection to what we've heard from Ben Johnson and from Ryan Poles talking about the fact that they need 8, 9, 10 guys along that offensive line that are capable of going out there and making a big impact.
That blue has to mean something.
Oh, the little dot things?
Yeah, it has to.
Oh, no, that means it's a trade. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the big bar up here. I'm like, what are you talking about?
No. Okay. Those blue dots have to mean something.
No, blue dot means trade.
I like this pack.
So James Pierce Jr., after a trade down from 10 to 17, picking up the extra second rounder from the Bengals. You get Tyleik Williams at 39, Isaiah Bond, the wide receiver out of Texas, at 41, Travion Henderson with that traded pick you get from the Bengals out of Ohio State, the running back out of Ohio State, and then Jared Wilson in the third, the center from Georgia. I do feel better about this.
I think number 2 and number 3 are my favorites. Number 1 was kind of a tough one.
Which, again,
even though you got Genty.
but we go back to that point is, this is 2 drafts now that we end up taking a running back late, filling that other need, and kind of seeing what's there in that second round. I mean, even picking non-running backs in the second round was kind of a struggle. I mean, I'm just doing this exercise. I'm starting to get off the Genty bandwagon.
I know.
I was there. I was there, but I don't know how much more I'm there now.
Well, the good news is we have a whole month to do this.
We do.
To go back and forth. The good news. We'll do another one. We'll do a show where we kind of go through some mocks and we'll have some people on. I think that'd be fun. Bring on some draft guys.
Yep, absolutely. It's for as much turmoil, I guess, as draft season can provide, it does bring a heck of a lot of fun.
Yes.
And again, even if the draft is in Green Bay this year, it's still just as much fun as it is any other time of the year. We just got to bring it back to Chicago one of these years. We got spoiled with back-to-back drafts, and we'll enjoy it nonetheless.
We picked up an extra pick next year too in that third one, right? I believe so.
No, it was just
we did
the extra second. That's the Travion Henderson.
Yeah, I mean, I'd feel good with that one. I was just Bill liked that one, so I didn't know if we picked up another. No, we had some more draft stuff coming. We still got a month, and then boom, once the draft comes, we're it's full go, man. We're rookie mini camps, all that good stuff.
Well, we get the extra mini camp this year because
because
he's the new coach.
The new coach, that's right.
And that should be 2 weeks.
Should be. Well, they haven't announced it yet, but it should be early April, mid-April.
Yeah. So probably 2-ish weeks.
When was
hard to believe, but next Tuesday is April 1st.
That's right, man. That's crazy.
It's crazy.
It's let's see, 20. I have the old emails. Because Eberflus was hired in 2022. So it's gonna be I can't find it. I'll figure it out sometime. It should be like early April, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that'd be my guess.
It will be Eberflus was April 19th to the 21st.
Oh, so right before the draft then. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it'll be nice getting that extra that extra oomph.
You get that extra, yeah.
And here's the thing is I think the leadership that Caleb is bringing to the team, that you're going to get a little bit better buy-in than you would have back when Eberflus was under this same situation. I think it's going to work out. And it'll work out for the best. So I'm looking forward to seeing how everything kind of comes together. And again, nothing wrong with some extra practice time.
That's right.
All righty. Well, that's going to do it here for us. Chatting all things NFL draft and the Chicago Bears with just a month out from the NFL draft. The time is ticking, and we'll be back with much, much more in terms of recapping what exactly might be on the Bears' plate. And who knows, maybe a couple free agent moves along the way will change things up and rethink what exactly the Bears are going to do when they are on the clock at number 10, or maybe even later. Who knows? But that'll do it here for the Bear Report podcast. For Zack Pearson, I'm Steven Johnson. Thanks for hanging out with us on this Tuesday evening. We'll talk to you next time right here at the Bear Report. Take care.